Parshat Ekev is a parsha about chosenness. God chooses us, and we in turn choose to follow God and to be God's people. There are two stories about God choosing us and us choosing God back that we normally talk about at Shavuot. The first is that God goes to many people in this world and says, I have this book, and I want to give it to you, and the peoples of the world say, what's in it, each taking their own turn, and when God starts to tell them, the people then say, well, we really don't want to have to deal with that. And they refuse the Torah. And then God comes to the Israelites, and he says, I have this book, and it's filled with laws and things that you should do, and if you follow it, then I will be your God, and you will be my people. And without any question of what's in that book, the people say, Nasev Nishma, we will come to understand it, we will do it, and then as we do it, we will come to understand it, and accept the Torah wholeheartedly. The other story says that as the children of Israel camp Tachat Hahar, which literally means under the mountain, but probably means at the base of the mountain. They're camping under the shadow of the mountain. But Midrash says that God actually lifted the mountain up. We were no better than anyone else in the world, and God lifted the mountain up and held it over our heads and says, if you accept my Torah, well, then I'll put this mountain down where it belongs. And if you don't, then it will come down on top of you. And the Israelites said, well, I guess we have no choice. We accept your Torah. And these two stories appear mutually exclusive because can you really say that we choose when there's a mountain being held over our heads? But the Torah is rife with God's anger, with examples of God getting angry, God saying to Moshe, I'm done, I'm getting rid of them. There are conversations back and forth. I'll start over with you, over and over again. And on the other hand, there are so many examples of us being recalcitrant, stubborn. We say we choose God, but it seems almost every parsha, seem to not be following the things we said we'd do. This week, as I mentioned with the Haftarah, is only the second week after we mark Tisha B'Av, after we mark the destruction of the temple happening because we couldn't seem to do some of the things that are in that Torah. We were doing the sacrifices. We were marking Shabbat. We were keeping kosher. Those weren't the issues. But we were terrible to each other, and it led to our destruction. So, what is chosenness? This week also, I don't know if you've been following the news, you might have noticed there was a little issue with TIFF. So, I wonder, and we've all heard the joke about God, could you sometimes choose someone else? I wonder if chosenness is not always the wonderful thing, and Jews throughout history have wondered, is this not always the wonderful thing we think it is, but maybe a red flag to other people that causes or gives them an excuse to hate us? But nonetheless, both our Torah reading and our Haftarah repeat that God chooses us, we chose God, and God, as angry as God may be at us, and as frustrated as we may be and recalcitrant in terms of following God's commandments, we still choose God. So what is it that chosenness really means? We said today, anyone who had an aliyah said today, Asher bachar ba mikol ha'amim, You chose us, God, from all of the people, v'natan lanu et Torato, to give us your Torah. And we, all of us sitting here, said Amen. Amen meaning truth. That's true. We accept that. We agree with that. So I want to share with you what I think chosenness means. I don't think chosenness is we're somehow better than any of the other people. I don't think those two stories of Naaseh v'Nishma and Tachat Tahar are mutually exclusive. I think we can say, we plan on doing this, absolutely, yes, we'll understand it as we do it, and we can also feel pressure to do things. It's how society works. I don't think there are people, as a group of people, who are inherently worse than the Jews, but I don't think there are people who are inherently better than the Jews as a people. Things sometimes are just the right choice. And I want to explain what I mean by that. Say you need someone to cook a meal. And you have the head chef of Ramah, of Camp Ramah, apply for the job, and you have Julia Child apply for the job. You'd think that the right person is Julia Child. Everything she cooks is going to be amazing. But maybe this is a meal for 600 people. Maybe this isn't a meal that needs to be done by a French chef. Maybe this isn't a meal that will include butter in every dish. Maybe this is a meal that needs to be prepared by someone who knows how to cook for hundreds of people. So maybe the right person in that moment is not necessarily Julia Child, who clearly has the training, the knowledge, and is going to make a beautiful, beautiful meal. Maybe it's the person who knows how to get that food on the table for hundreds of people. And yeah, maybe it's not going to be the best meal you've ever had, but it's what you need in that moment. So sometimes the right person for the job is not always the person who on the surface seems to be the best in the moment. And that's how I understand chosenness. We are not an easy people. Read the Torah. We are stiff-necked. We are stubborn. We are rebellious. We are outspoken. We are all of these things all the time. But we were a young nation. We were a closely connected nation. We were a family. We are still a family. We say when someone joins us, welcome to the tribe. Once you're in, you don't ever get to leave. And halachically, that's true. Even if someone converts out of Judaism as a religion, you are still a member of the tribe, and all of the obligations still rest on your shoulders. You don't get the benefits of an aliyah, of counting the minyan, but all the responsibilities, sitting shiva for your parents, saying Kaddish, keeping kosher, all of the you will do this, you will not do that, that's still there. Our experiences of slavery in Egypt, and then, unfortunately, the multi-generational trauma that we have experienced make us into a very special group. And we continue to be rebellious, and we continue to speak out, and it makes a difference in the world. The sage Hillel said, "B'makom she'en anashim, hishtadel lihiot ish." In a place where there's no humanity, Try to be a person. Be a human. In the worst conditions, wandering in the wilderness, during slavery in Mitzrayim, during the concentration camps, during the Inquisition, in the ghettos throughout history, and even now, we have tried as a people to make the world a better place. Not every one of us is perfect, far from it. But we seek as a people to preserve humanity. We seek as a people to make the world a place that is healed. Sometimes we don't get it right, but that's the goal, the overarching goal of us as a people. And so, b'makom she'en anashim, in every place where there isn't humanity, we have striven to be a person. We will continue to do that. And maybe the rebellious streak we have, maybe the stubbornness that we exhibit is exactly what's needed in order to push that forward. Shabbat Shalom.